why Gen Z culture is basically medieval China.
The other day I was thinking about it and I realized, you know who these dang Gen Zers remind me of? The Song Dynasty from medieval China.
Anyone else? Totally. Oh my God. Yeah, I totally agree.
Been feeling this way lately? No, it's just me? Well, let me explain what I mean. There's all this new data to suggest that younger people these days want to spend their money on experience.
Roughly 60% of millennials and Gen Z would rather spend money on life experiences like traveling and concerts than save for retirement. Are they making a big mistake? I think there needs to be a middle ground. I think that older generations like boomers did nothing fun and just saved money like under their mattress type shit and invested to a point where they retired with money but literally never left their home state. And so they didn't experience anything, right? They died with a nice car and a nice house, but they'd never been to Europe, Canada, South America, Asia, Australia, Africa, anywhere. They had literally only stayed in 4 states and went on vacation to, you know, fucking Myrtle Beach or Florida twice, ever. So I think that's bad, but I think equally, you know, spending all of the money in your savings account on travel is probably also not smart. But I think that I would rather have what millennials and Gen Z are doing than what boomers are doing. The problem is that because of this, all experiences are becoming more expensive. That's why, like, Airbnbs are so lucrative if, like, you provide an experience, right? If your Airbnb is just kind of like a nice house, you're going to get a lot less people that rent it, comparable to if you have an arcade, a bowling alley in the basement, you're fucking 1 mile away destination-wise from a beach and bar scene. It's like, that's what fucking millennials and Gen Z would pay fucking $2,000 a night for. Like, there's actually Airbnbs in places that rent out like 3-4K a day. Like, you know, big fucking 15-person houses just because, like, they provide an experience. Or just, it's the same thing with, like, millennial burger shops. It's like, I know that's a meme, but that's, like, an actual thing where these, like, big cities in, like, Miami, LA, New York and shit provide an experience for something, and the product they're serving you is on par with places that are 50% less in terms of price. But because you're in an area that's popular and they're providing some sort of experience, you have to pay more.
This is not physical items. I think it reflects this growing hunger for thirds.
Coachella, perfect example. Coachella has been ruined, and this is coming from an influencer that went to Coachella. Coachella was ruined by influencers. Coachella is ruined by the fame and popularity of the event, and it's gotten to a point where, like, number one, the city's already super expensive because it's in the middle of the desert, and therefore the actual concert itself is going to be fairly expensive. On top of that, the ticket prices are through the roof, and the actual food prices and what you're paying for experience-wise is so much. Like, to put it in perspective, just going to Iceland, and I went on a trip in Iceland and did everything I could in 7 days there, was like $6,000, $8,000 for 2 people. 2 people to go to Coachella for 3 days on week 1 was like $10,000 in the US. Versus traveling to another country that's in, like, the middle of the Arctic for a week, which is already expensive. It's more expensive to go see fucking, you know, last year, not like Sabrina Carpenter this year, but like last year, go see like Lady Gaga for 1 night. Like, it's more.
Experiences, not physical items. I think it reflects that
you're a millionaire. Tim Tam, you spelled millionaire, number 1. And number 2, that has no relevancy to what I'm saying. My friends and I constantly send each other money on Cash App for varying things. And I always have an amount of money that's sitting in there that I wish I could spend at a store, but I don't want to have to transfer it out of Cash App into a bank so then I could use it on a card in a place of business. And that is where the Cash App debit card comes into play. The customizable Cash App debit card can be customized to your individual creative needs. If you want it to glow in the dark, you can have it glow in the dark. And it also provides exclusive discounts on things that you're probably getting every day. Coffee, food delivery, video games, and more. And if you're also a fan of concerts, you can get exclusive pre-sale ticket access with the Cash App debit card to some of your favorite artists like Sabrina Carpenter, Kendrick Lamar, SZA, Drake, and more. There's also no hidden fees or minimum monthly balance requirements. You can also customize the card really easy on your app, ship it right to your door, and get to using it right away. And for a limited time only, new Cash App customers over the age of 18 can earn $10 if they use code CASH10 at profile at sign up and send $5 to a friend or more within the first 14 days. And if you're 13 to 17, request a parent or guardian sponsored account, use code CASH10 at profile at sign up, get $10 dropped into your account when you order and activate a Cash App card and send $5 to a friend or more within the first 14 days. Terms apply. Thank you to Cash App for sponsoring this video, and let's get back into it.
This growing hunger for third spaces, and if you don't know what third spaces are, let me just quickly break it down for you. Basically, your two main spaces are home and work, and historically the third space was somewhere in the middle. Maybe it was the bar, or the guild hall, or the tea house. These have all but gone extinct recently or have become prohibitively expensive, and
Bro, I think we watched a video about like third places just ceasing to exist. Like, nobody, like, hangs out anywhere anymore.
young people are feeling it. They want the third spaces back. This maybe feels like a very 21st century vibes-based phenomenon, but it's actually extremely Chinese. The Song Dynasty was the first era in history to have
Yo, we're literally medieval China. That's so lit.
what we would consider as a lifestyle culture, where the cities were actually designed for pleasure and snacking and nighttime entertainment, just like so many downtown areas are today.
You're Gen Z too, dickhead.
There was this 12th century writer named Meng Yuanlao who wrote this fascinating memoir called The Record of a Dream of Splendor at the Eastern Capital. It's one of these shocking works from the Middle Ages that I love reading because it seems like it was written by someone recently instead of someone 1,000 years ago. He writes this whole nostalgic
You're the oldest Gen Z. No, I'm not. I'm 2002. The oldest Gen Z is like 1996. Zeusi's Koshard, Chris is Gen Z and he's almost 30. I'm 24.
Reminiscence of the Song capital city, Kaifeng, and talks all about the 24-hour tea houses and the professional performers and storytellers and the specific.
Yo, lock in, chat. I'm learning about medieval China and you're yapping about how you think I'm an unk. Fuck.
Whole nostalgic reminiscence of the Song capital city, Kaifeng, and talks all about the
They respect your elders in medieval China. What's going on here?
24-hour tea houses and the professional performers and storytellers and the specific vibes of the different districts. There's this one section where he talks about restaurant culture. I'll just quote the full thing here and you tell me if this sounds familiar. When the guests arrive, a single person holding chopsticks and a menu questions all of the seated guests. The men of the capital are extravagant and they demand 100 different things. Some hot, some cold, some warm, some regular, some extremely cold, and things like noodles laced with lean and fatty meat. Everyone orders something different. The waiter takes the orders and draws near a counter where he stands in line and recites the orders off from the start. I don't know, this to me...
Yeah, this sounds like you're getting like hibachi today at like a new age like twist, or I'm at like a Korean fusion restaurant.
Literally sounds like a night out in 2026. I'm positive this isn't what you would picture in your head when you hear the word medieval. Also, just to give you a historical timeline here, this is basically China on the eve of the eventual Mongol invasion, and it's a time...
Oh, totally. Yeah, the Song Dynasty following up after the Tang Dynasty and right before the Yuan Dynasty. Yep, know this one.
Mongol invasion, and it's a time and a place where consumerism is starting to flourish and it's becoming a core identity for younger people. Bringing it back to Gen Z, I've noticed that there's this big obsession with what I would...
But there's like, I love the idea of Gen Z and millennials getting back into like the third place mentality and living for experiences. But there's people that take it too far and they become like Ryan from The Office, where they're performative rather than actually wanting to experience that. Like, there's a wide range of people that are in our generation that do things because they think it's what they should be doing rather than actually what they want to do. Like, people that, okay, it's gonna upset some people. If you're somebody that drinks matcha every day, there's people that actually enjoy that, and then there's people that actually just drink matcha because they think that it's cool to drink matcha. Like, it's like a performative males. Specifically
called curated living. I don't know, maybe I'm not describing it accurately, but it is super vibes based, like life is one big Pinterest board. Think of terms like cozy game.
Do people that are obsessed with Dubai chocolate and think that there are things that are flavored Dubai. Dubai is a place, not a flavor.
Games or the aesthetics of going on a walk around the city with an iced matcha. It's this sort of return to the Song Dynasty scholar, gentleman, urban ideal.
My Dubai water.
Your status isn't just about money, although that'll obviously always be important. It's about your taste. Back then, it was about your taste in tea and incense and interior design. Now it's more so about your taste in underground music and niche TikTokers.
Wow. Yo, that's facts. To a degree, because being mainstream is like so lame. Yeah, like That's why, bro, there's people that don't watch me anymore because I'm too mainstream now. I'm so serious. There are people that liked when I was smaller, and that because I've gotten bigger, they think it's lame to watch me now. Like, that's a thing. It's the same thing with music. Like, yo, if somebody goes, my favorite artists are, and then they rattle off the most, like, they go, The Weeknd, Post Malone, Drake, and fucking, I don't know, who's like a Blake Shelton. You're gonna go, ugh, really? That's your top 5? Like, it's fine to have a main. I feel like the way that people perceive it, it's like, top 5, you should have like 2 mainstream people and then like 3 people that you just like. Other than being like, yo, Maroon 5, Imagine Dragons, Lady Gaga, LMFAO, and fucking Kendrick Lamar. I'd be like, ugh. Whoa. Taylor Swift? Well, Taylor Swift is just like extremely mainstream. Yo, on the topic of niche TikTokers, where you said who your personality is based off that, chat, what y'all know about Gary? What y'all know about Gary from Food Giant? I watch this guy every day.
Food Giant in Hueytown, specials up, prices down.
Woo-hoo. Here's Barry!
Here's Barry!
Good morning, TikTok.
Food Giant in Hueytown, specials up, prices down. Oop, 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 honey. And I know what he's going to say. He goes, good morning, Food Giant shoppers. Good morning to America, and good morning to the world. And he films these at like 4 a.m. They get like 200 likes. I watch them every day. If this is a Food Giant in Alabama.
Good morning, TikTok. Good morning, America, and good morning to the world. All right, y'all. Y'all listen up real quick for me, please. We've got a limited promo on the merch site starting now through Saturday. When you order 2 hoodies.
See, I'm not caring about the merch, Gary. Yo, he acting like he's playing that shit. Look at him. Hit that spin on it. 2, 3.
With a nice and happy southern smile.
There we go.
Here's Barry!
There's Barry.
Good morning, TikTok. Good morning, America, and good morning.
Wait, where? Are you doing a fundraiser? He does an intro for
Good
all
morning,
his
Food
videos.
Giant
Oh, here it
shoppers.
is.
Good morning, America, and good morning to the
Oh, we got a deal on that Brian thick cut bacon. What we got here, Gary?
world. This morning on our Hot Buy ad sale, we have the Brian's Bacon for only $2.99 for a 12-ounce package. That's a savings of $3 a package. And then I got to thinking, go buy you a loaf of bread, get you a head of lettuce, which we have on sale for $1.49 a head. We have these beautiful tomatoes
Yes, Big Mater.
for only $1.89 a pound. You could have several sandwiches for less than $10. So get on out to Food Giant today where you can make you a bacon, lettuce, and tomato sandwich. As always, have a wonderful day, and most importantly, God bless.
Oh my God, I love him. He makes me so happy, bro. And it's always like, dude, you wake up. He's like Good Mythical Morning, bro. You pop up on TikTok. Yo, if you start liking his videos, he'll show up on your For You page at like 8 a.m. And he'll have posted that shit at 4. He's like up bright and early just filming videos in a fucking Food Giant. Anyways, that's my niche TikToker.
Youth don't want to be told what's cool anymore by commercials and MTV with big corporations calling the shots. They want to create their own experiences. They want to get medieval Chinese again. Also semi-relatedly, there's been a big surge in traditional Chinese medicine trends among Westerners on TikTok recently. You see it everywhere. A number of Chinese American influencers have been sort of introducing these ancient concepts like Qigong.
Yeah, they're Chinese maxing. That's a big thing for 2026. It's on a lot of people's vision boards.
Chinese American influencers have been sort of introducing these ancient concepts like Qigong practice or drinking hot water instead of cold
It's on Koshards. Chinese maxing.
water, and the internet has been going crazy for it. So maybe medieval China is making a comeback.
Yo, Ludwig. Yo, literally Ludwig. What is Ludwig doing? What is Ludwig doing in the last month? Chinese maxing.
Back in more ways than one. We won't just focus on the Song Dynasty here. There's more to China in the Middle Ages than just that one period.
On stream the other day, he was learning Mandarin.
But I do have a few more song boxes I want to check before we continue.
Before we do that, just a quick plug. If you like
Smoking cigarettes on a corner.
my content, which of course you do, you should definitely join my
Getting specific. Well, okay, well, you shouldn't smoke cigarettes.
Patreon.
There's one TikToker I watched that's what he's been doing this year.
Link in the description. You'll get access to the
Oh my God, what is that guy's name? He has a rat tail. He posts like once every 6 months. And he goes, love, love. Somebody knows. Somebody knows in chat. What's his name? What's his name? Somebody tell me. Chat is super good at this. We have enough people that somebody gets it. He goes, love, not Dr. Poop. What is Dr. Poop, bro? That's too niche. It's not too niche. You know him. If I pulled up a video of him, he has tattoos everywhere. He lives in New York. He's a New York guy. He's Italian, and he smokes cigarettes. Not Mamdani. No. Or Jay Schlatt. Bro, he's a TikToker, and he's Italian. Italian TikToker Chinese maxing. It would come up, trust me. No, it's not showing up. There's a video, though, why everybody online's becoming Chinese. Bro, what is his name, bruh? This is gonna bother me. It's not Leo Skeppy. Or Cumtism, bro. Cumtism is not an Italian New Yorker. Kevin G. Chat, you guys are just saying names now. I know somebody probably typed it too, and it's just getting crowded by Will Mahoney. Who said that? Who said that? Who said that? Real Alyssa. Goat. Hold up. I gotta find his mood board.
Guys, what is up? My name is Will Mahoney, and it is 2026. Your 2025 might have been a trash pile of shit and sucked, but this year's gonna be legendary. Check this out. We got the vision board going. Cortisol levels, #1 priority. Cortisol levels at an all-time low. That's the stress hormone. What does that mean? That means if somebody is trying to cause you stress or situation, simply exit the situation. For example, homeless person on the street. No. Excuse me. You're spiking my cortisols, and I'm gonna leave. Bye. Yeah, thank you. Love you. Bye. We got beautiful women at baseball games and sporting events in general. Poor person is breaking into a car right now that's spiking my cortisol. Please silence on set. Okay, good job. Beautiful women at baseball games. She's wearing an LA Dodgers cap. Personally, I'm a Yankees fan, so I'll make a joke. Low cortisol joke. Oh, come on, babe, put on a Yankees hat for me. And she'll say, maybe tonight I will. Woo! We're not nonchalant. What does that mean? We're extremely chalant. What does that mean? We're excited about things, and we're open about our excitement. Being nonchalant would be this. Yeah, no, I'm actually on the list for this. Yo, no one gives a fuck, bro. You're almost 30, okay? We're gonna be chalant, and we're gonna be excited about things. Chinese maxing. We're Chinese maxing all year. What does that mean? Sitting in a circle.
Chinese maxing.
With your homies, smoking cigarettes and just talking about bullshit. Who cares? We're just talking, enjoying our friends' company. Cigarettes with weird fucking words we don't understand, okay? Very important one here. We're extremely generous this year. No stinginess. Stinginess is a high cortisol activity. What resources do I have and how can I keep them forever and ever? Low cortisol activity. You know what you're working on? You deserve it. Fuck it. Here's $20. Fuck it. 20% tip, try 40, okay? Take any of these 3 images together, you get a vibe. Ready? I'm closing a deal while I'm smoking a cigarette, then I'm going on a date with my hot black girlfriend. Or I'm drinking Guinnesses with my Chinese friends, sitting around doing nothing, and I'm gonna tip the waiter generously. Okay, this is basically, come on, I'm trying to build a vision here. Do you get it? We're counting foreign currencies, but not just foreign currencies, one that we don't really know the exchange rate of because we just got there a couple of days ago. You go, wait, how much USD is it? Once you know the USD transfer rate, that means you've been in the place too long, okay? Let's break it down. This is what we're going for. Luxury, optimism, vibes, and energy. Short for love. Anyway, guys, have a beautiful year. It's going to be legendary, epic, awesome, sexual, and handsome. And
Yo, bro, his videos, whenever they show up, I'm like, this is the funniest thing ever.
Maybe you've heard of the modern phenomenon of Looksmaxxing, or maybe you aren't chronically online and have no idea what I'm talking about. Basically, Looksmaxxing is
Bone smashing?
the new version of the age-old concept of getting hot, although it goes way beyond diet and exercise and a little Botox. Young people, I would say especially young men, are exploring all of these scientific avenues to try and improve their looks. The most medieval-seeming Looksmaxxing method is called bone smashing, and it's been promoted over and over again by probably the most famous—
Don't tell me they were bone smashing in medieval China. Is clavicular like a reincarnation of a high-status medieval Chinese man?
Looksmaxxer, a 19-year-old streamer named Clavicular. Looksmaxxer, bone smashing, clavicular. I understand this all might sound ridiculous to you, but stick with me because it's interesting. Also, don't you want to understand the youth? Anyway, the way Clavicular describes it, bone smashing is when you take a tiny hammer and tap hard along your cheekbones and your jawbone. It causes a temporary swelling that lasts for a few hours and makes those bones bones look more defined. So it's something you might do just before a night out so you can look more masculine to any ladies you meet. Maybe at this point this isn't a crazy revelation, but
It's not even permanent?
turns out young guys in medieval China had the same insecurities that modern men do, and they even went about similar
A lot of sub threes. A lot of sub threes in medieval China, you're telling me, that needed a bone smash to Looksmaxx.
methods of soothing their anxieties.
Okay.
During the Song Dynasty period, there was this really interesting tension between the Wen class, who were the more literary, refined scholars, and
Sub 5 talking? Shut up.
the Wu class,
I got rated mid-tier normie.
who were the more martial and physical
I'm a 5.
warrior
So-
caste. Depending on which group you belong to, you'd basically looksmax to make sure your outward appearance matched what you represented. So that meant young men who were part of the scholarly class went to these extreme lengths to
Dude, Joe with Greek curls, dude. Oh my god, he could be like high-tier normie.
achieve this sort of refined,
What is he gonna go back to that?
pale physical aesthetic with slender features to essentially highlight the fact that they never had
Bro, I'm not gonna lie, I messaged Jinxie the other day. Oh my god. I messaged Jinxie the other day. Jinxie, when he was in the UK, bro, he looked, oh my god. Yo, hot. I'll say, he was mogging when he had that quarter zip on. Bro, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. If you're chronically online, hold up. I gotta pull up the video, bro. Jinxie mogging. It shows up immediately. Tell me Jinxie is not mogging right now. What are you talking about? What do you mean, what am I talking about, bro? He has like a perfect head shape. Like, my head is so much more bulbous. Dude, imagine if Jinxie gained like 30 pounds in muscle. Wow. GQ model, literally. Huh.
to work with their hands. They'd even use specific diets and cosmetic aspects of traditional
Search Digimog. I'm not searching Digimog.
Chinese medicine to maintain
I'm gonna search Digimog. Hold up. Digimog.
What's up, guys?
This is a YouTube video of him watching Digimog TikToks. Wow.
this look that would instantly signal to every
Joe Simping, I messaged Jinxie that at like, dude, it had to be like 3 in the morning. I saw the TikTok. Where is it? I said, bro, you're mogging. You look great. Oh, that's so cringe.
everyone that they were part of the intelligentsia. Those in the military class, basically who we would consider to be the modern day Chads, focused primarily on bone strength. I don't know, maybe that sounds familiar to you. It wasn't just about muscle, although of course they made sure they were in great shape. It was about the chi energy within and physical density. You wanted to look like a brick wall. That was
No, pin the schedule.
kind of the physique they were shooting for. It's important to note, of course, that they weren't hitting themselves in the face with hammers like modern Looksmaxxers. Their routine usually included things like hitting sandbags or poles to increase their bone density. There was a 20
Hitting sandbags or poles with their body, like kicking a metal pole or something.
20th century French scholar named Jacques Journet who specialized in Chinese history, and he talked a lot about
Negative cancel tilt.
how these
I'm kidding.
aspects of appearance became kind of a coded language of your class. In the incredibly hierarchical society of medieval China, if you didn't have the specific look, you were culturally invisible. It seems like a lot of young men, and young women too, feel this way today. If you just look up the term looksmaxxing on YouTube or TikTok, the insecurity is overwhelming, but it's understandable. We were all vulnerable teenagers once too. But you see these guys giving each other ratings on a scale of 1 to 10 and recommending which specific steroids or looksmaxxing techniques to try so they
Yo, I saw a post on Twitter the other day of somebody talking about the peptides and substances they're taking to gain ELO in CSGO. And they said that they were like 6K ELO and they started taking like a slew of drugs and reached 10K. And I was like, wow, this has to be a joke because 10K is not that good. And I'm not rated in CS yet. I still have to play my ranks, but I'm like, I'm not taking drugs to hit 10K. And then in the thread, it was people genuinely having serious conversations about like what hardcore drugs they were taking to climb in CS. And I was like, yo, there was one dude talking about him like low dosing meth to fucking climb. I'm like, that's the average person I'm playing with in a CS lobby. Like, The average person that I'm in a CS lobby with is like microdosing methamphetamine so they could fucking climb. That's crazy. Like, I'm not saying, you know, there's any world where you should take drugs to climb in a video game rank, but you taking drugs to hit 10K elo is like me saying I took meth so I could climb to fucking diamond in Rocket League. Like maybe you saying SSL and I'd be like, oh, wow, you know, that's kind of crazy. But you're like D-Gen taking drugs to hit like mid ranks on Premiere.
And bring their flagging features up to speed. This includes peptides, which as far as I understand are these amino.
What the fuck are peptides? I actually don't understand what peptides are. I'm not even gonna lie. And I've taken like psychopharmacology classes and all this other shit. Like, I don't understand what peptides are.
Acid-based performance enhancers and the use of GLP-1s.
Just amino acids, but they're for everything.
Like Ozempic, which I feel like people associate with an older audience, but there seem to be a shocking amount of young people taking them. The medieval Chinese were actually big on this kind of thing too. They were obsessed with elixirs made from rare minerals and herbs that were designed to lighten the body and extend life. A lot of
eat a fucking tapeworm. Let that grow in your intestines for 2 months.
These were incredibly dangerous and even included mercury, and I'm sure in the next 10 years or so there will be a bunch of studies showing the horrific side effects of Looksmaxxing and peptide.
Oh my god, yeah, dude. You remember when they used to have women's makeup had lead in it, and so they would put the makeup on, and over time it would make their face look worse and worse, so they would put more and more of the makeup on until it literally killed them.
The idea behind this medieval Chinese Looksmaxxing was essentially the same as the idea behind the modern version, using some kind of external chemistry or method to hack your biological limits and achieve this sort of superior physical state. The Chinese
Killdozer uses peptides. Killdozer looks like an actual god.
Wrote a lot of things down, and thankfully a lot of them have survived over the centuries. Like the 7th century physician Sun Simao's essential formulas worth 1,000 gold pieces. It was basically this manual for longevity and physical refinement.
Editor, throw up a picture of Killdozer.
And if you're familiar with the European concept of balance,
Whoa!
Simao describes the body as this chemical system that can be balanced or enhanced with specific substances. This idea went even further with the medieval Chinese concept of Naidan, or internal alchemy, which taught that the body was composed of 3 main ingredients, qi, jing, and shen, that could be forged into a golden cinder if you were locked in enough on your physical discipline. Locked in is a good term to use here because this sounds just like the trend of locking in that has been popular with Gen Z for at least 5 years now. If you're not familiar, it just means cutting off outside distractions and focusing intently on some kind of personal goal. So maybe getting your side hustle off the ground or working out more regularly or whatever. It's become sort of a cult online, especially among the
Yo, can I say I hate the word entrepreneur? Because I feel like so many people claim to be entrepreneurs when they just sell like they have like an affiliate link for like Celsius. I'm like, bro, like entrepreneur, you could say you're an entrepreneur if you're on fucking Shark Tank. Like it's become a buzzword. It holds no meaning anymore. Like saying you're an entrepreneur, you could literally be a guy that's just like into crypto and never made any money from it. Yeah, I'm kind of an entrepreneur. I create a lot of coins. I'm just kind of paving a new path in this space, you know? And at some point, people are just going to be... I'm kind of early to the train, you know?
Gym community, and based on what you see from these fitness influencers, it's like your pump and your physique are proof of an internal moral victory. Like a victory of the will over the lazy...
Bro goes to the bins in Goodwill and then sells the clothes on Depop. You're not an entrepreneur.
Of your base body. A medieval Naidan practitioner literally thought the same exact way. They knew that their physical health and their outward radiance was proof that they had successfully cultivated their soul in a way that others couldn't or hadn't. Young people seem way more into fitness now than they did even 10 years ago. I'm not sure if that's a COVID thing, but I love to
no, that is so true. I think it's a mixture of COVID, but it's also becoming like a new standard. I think it's social media kind of skewing what the average person looks like. But it's like, I'm genuinely not trying to, I'm not glazing myself. I'm being real. My physique 60 years ago was like crazy. Like if you look, I have a very normal just gym physique now. Like most guys at the gym are probably my size or larger if they've like continuously worked out for years. But I'm saying if you look at like fitness magazines from like way back, the average guy that was like ripped just looked like a regular like athlete.
There seems to be a lot of conversation around the idea that your
I'm not
body
saying
is
me 60 years ago. I'm saying my physique.
the one status symbol you can't really buy.
Do you hit legs? Yes.
You can buy a Bugatti or a nice watch or whatever, but you can only achieve a truly amazing physique through countless hours in the gym, so it's really the most impressive thing you can have. There's also this quote from the video game Disco Elysium where a bouncer says to the main character, "Your body betrays your degeneracy," and that always sticks in my head when I don't want to go to the gym. I just felt like including that. I like tossing random tidbits into these videos.
Yeah, I think physically, like, outside of, like, monetary status, yeah, being in shape is usually perceived as good. I think another side thing is, like, if you have some sneaky talent, like, if you're able to just play the guitar or, like, the piano or some instrument really well, that, like, socially, like, ups... Like, I feel like not many, like, all the... It's very weird to me that, like, Clav and all these Looksmaxxing guys so heavily focus on, like, the looks part of, like, attraction and what makes people like you versus, like, yo, if you're able to, like, hit a crazy guitar riff, people fuck with you. You know what I mean? Like, if you could fucking play, you know, a Metallica song on the guitar, people are like, yo, that's, like, badass. That's awesome. Like,
now, most of what I've been talking about so far has come
and it ups your personality.
From the Song Dynasty, which lasted for a few centuries right smack dab in the middle of what we would consider the Middle Ages. But the Middle Ages lasted almost 1,000 years, so what about the rest of medieval China? You know what? I'm really glad you asked that. First of all, the Middle Ages happened differently in China than they did in Europe. Basically, even though there are quite a few Song Dynasty parallels, Gen Z is actually in more of a late Ming phase. That's right, I said it. In the earlier Tang Dynasty, which lasted from 618 to 907 AD, your identity was defined by your clan or your rank in the military, basically how people's identities have been defined for most of human history. You were a cog in the great chain of being, and the same thing was true in medieval Europe. You existed within a feudal system put in place by the divine mover. By the late Ming period, which went all the way into the 17th century, there was this rise in individualism that started to run so deep that it turned into the same kind of identity crises and obsession with labels that we see among Gen Z today. You see, Chinese society had reached a level of complexity to such a point that people started to define themselves by their personal quirks and not their family or job. So instead of saying, "I am a soldier," a late Ming youngin might say, "I'm a connoisseur of rare incense who suffers from melancholy." In a similar way...
Oh my god, yo, we're literally reaching that now, bro. Holy.
You'd be hard-pressed to meet a young person today who primarily identifies by their profession or their
Yeah, nobody, you usually intro that and then you immediately want to talk outside of it. I feel like it's usually frowned upon in today's society to be somebody that only cares about the profession. I will actually agree with that too. If somebody only is able to talk about their job, that's lame. Like, there's a lot of social media. I always talk about social media to other social media people, but the biggest sign that I fuck with somebody that I've met through social media that is an influencer is their capability and capacity to talk about things beyond social media. Like, if I can only talk to them about influencer shit, then we're very surface level friends. Like, other people that I've met and talked to, like Sneeg and Zeusy, I mean, Chris was already my IRL friend, or like, even like Jinxie, like, I'll just have conversations with him. Like, it's not just, hey, what do you think about this streaming idea or some shit? Same thing with a job. Like, if you meet somebody and they're a carpenter and all they could do is talk about work, it's like, I don't give a fuck, right? In any sense, it's like, let's have something that's shared ground that we both like. Because most people don't want to just talk about their jobs because your job doesn't define you. It does in some way, and I think there's a level of, like, lack of care entirely is like, whoa, like, there is some attachment, you know? Like, if your job is you're a fucking doctor, you know, that's a part of your goddamn life, similar to any job that you have. But it's like, it shouldn't be the only thing that matters to you.
Find me a 22-year-old who introduces themselves as Garrett the American Plumber, and I would genuinely be...
So is being unemployed the way? No, because then conversely, being unemployed is your personality. It's like, if you have a job, people that make their job their personality is lame, But when people have a job, they usually reach for other things that become their personality. Whereas being unemployed, it's like, oh, like unemployment is the personality.
Shocked. I'm sure Garrett will now show up in my comments to prove me wrong because that's how YouTube works. Instead, just like the Ming youth, young people now might identify as a neurodivergent creative with a hyperfixation on looksmaxxing. It's this obsession with self, and it can be dangerous because
What would my call tag be, chat?
you stop viewing yourself as part of a wider community and start squeezing yourself into these ever smaller and more specific boxes. The late Ming period was a kind of renaissance that ultimately failed.
Autistic chud. Okay.
It was this explosion of individual expression and art and looksmaxxing and everything else, but it was cut short by the Manchu conquest in 1644. I honestly think we're going to see something similar with Gen Z in the coming years. They're in this period of extreme self-expression and pursuit of individual destiny right before a massive systemic reset comes. Maybe that's AI, maybe it's something else, only time will tell. Anyway, we just briefly stepped outside of the Middle Ages, so let's bring things back a few centuries for our next comparison. I want to go back to those Song Dynasty third spaces we talked about earlier. One of them was the Watsi, or the Pleasure Precinct, which sounds pretty good already. Basically, during the Song Dynasty, the government moved away from these strictly managed residential wards and allowed for the growth of pleasure precincts, or Watsi. If you've ever seen The Wire, this was kind of like the medieval Chinese equivalent of the Amsterdam experiment. The Watsi were these chaotic 24-hour zones where all the basic social rules were temporarily suspended, kind of like the medieval equivalent of the unregulated internet. Now, if you let a bunch of young men loose in an area with no rules, the first thing they'll be interested in is prostitution, but in the modern day, you
Oh my god. Wait. Literally, bro.
already check that
Like the red light district or some shit.
box with online adult content and gooning. After those urges are satisfied, literally the very next thing they want is to gamble. It's a tale as old
Wow. Yo, dude, all right, now we're simplifying men to very dumb. Oh my god, wow, that makes men really seem fucking stupid. Oh my god, yeah, you throw a guy down, you throw like a 23-year-old guy in Amsterdam, he's going, let's go to the red light district, gamble, and then take drugs. That's like, that's the big three. Let's go pay to have sex, lose money, and then get high.
this time, and it was a big problem in the Song Dynasty pleasure districts, and it's an even bigger problem now on private gambling Discord servers and even huge publicly accessible apps like DraftKings and BetDSI. I see so many young people now who are almost turning online gambling into a sort of career path, and guess what? They did the same thing back in the day too.
Yo, it's fucked. There are guys that, it's like a very, very small percentage. There's guys that make money on like sportsbook shit. You know how there's guys that like sell those Discord? I think that shit's stupid. I think there's guys that like min-max the betting odds really well and they can con the system a bit, but those guys start Discord servers where it's like $50 to join, and there's so many chuds that are like, I'm just gonna tail this guy's bets and win money. I'm like, yeah, you know, you might be up like $200, but like I feel like you could learn what they're doing yourself without just tailing their bets and paying them. Because I'm like, the guy that you're paying is making millions of dollars because he has 20,000 Discord members and they're all paying fucking $50 a month to get his tailed bets. Like, holy shit, that guy that owns that server is making genuinely like 40 million a year.
All kinds of criticisms from the Song Dynasty officials.
My friend does that. I have so many friends that do that. Whether they do it themselves or they're the one that pays the server, whatever.
Like Sima Guang, who laments that young men are abandoning the plow and the book to chase the flip of the die. There's also this modern sociologist named
Dude, just bet $100 in minus 2,000 odds and win. Yeah, Curzy, the problem with that, I'm a big fan of sports betting. I promote DraftKings. I like sports betting, right? The problem with betting $100 on minus 2,000 odds is you're going to win like $2 back. You're going to win like $1, bro. If you bet $100 on something that's minus 2K odds, you're literally going to get $101. Like, you're going to get nothing back because it's just like basically a 99% chance of hitting.
Beverly Yuen Thompson, who writes
And then if you lose, you lose the $100.
great stuff about subcultures. And she's noted that fringe groups usually start to form when the mainstream promise of hard work equals success is broken. In the Song Dynasty,
Like, did y'all see during the Super Bowl, there was that one guy that he made like $1 million bet on something that was like minus minus like 1,000 or 2,000 odds or something crazy. He bet like $1 million to win like 100K. And I was like, wow. Like, yeah, 100K win, that's crazy. And it's like the odds are there. But I'm like, in the back of my head, I'd be like, damn, dude, if I lost $1 million on a bet to win 100.
Your ticket to success was passing the Imperial exam, but you could study 30 years. Dynasty, your mainstream promise of hard work equals success is broken. In the Song Dynasty, your ticket to success was passing the Imperial exam, but you could study 30 years just to fail an exam that only had a 1% pass rate. That's a bad bet. Young people now are seeing the same thing. Their parents bought houses and supported an entire family on a modest single income, and now they can barely afford their rent. In this kind of paradigm, why wouldn't you open up DraftKings and put everything you own on some ridiculous parlay? Why wouldn't you dump your whole portfolio into some meme coin in the hopes it'll take you to the moon? We might think of this younger generation of gambling addicts as just irresponsible kids whose frontal lobes aren't fully developed yet, and that's definitely part of it, but they're also making...
I mean, I think that any young man, even earlier in time, would still gamble if the opportunity presented itself. It was just like far and few between. You know, you're going to a horse race, you're at a casino that you could actually physically gamble at. But like, people like betting money in any instance, in any situation, regardless of financial stability. And today it's just like day trading, meme coins, and like stake.com. Like, those are like the big ones. Like unregulated gambling sites and like faulty betting schemes that are just either gonna hit big or you lose everything.
A desperate, calculated attempt to exit a system that has already failed them. Going back to the WotC, the pleasure precincts, the reason they never fully took over...
Gambling's for fun, not a way to get rich. I agree. That's how I perceive it. There are guys that get rich from gambling, but I think most people that partake in gambling, even if they're frequent DraftKings goers or FanDuel goers or somebody that does sports betting a lot, sports betting's a little bit different because people tend to be less addicted than like online gambling, like stake.com or Roobet or like RainBet or one of those. But like, even so, if you're sports betting, you're usually going, I want to bet $100, I'll make $300. Nobody, like the guys that are doing sports betting and putting $10 on a fucking 20-leg parlay with plus 15,000 odds are idiots. You know, like those guys win 1 out of 1,000,000 times, and one of them posts their bet slip on Twitter of them winning, and everybody goes, oh my God, no fucking way. But it's like, it's just like hitting the lottery in that sense.
Society is because you had to physically go to them. There was a spirit of anonymity. Basically, what happens in the WotC stays in the WotC, but you still had to go engage in these acts in a somewhat public place and deal with the internal shame of that. Now,
horsey game, yeah, Bart Bucks, channel points. My chat is addicted to betting fucking Bart Bucks which have actually no physical value.
With the internet, young people can indulge in all of their most base desires without ever even getting off the couch, and it can literally cost them their entire future. It's worth noting too that when you have a bunch of young, desperate people gather...
Let's run a coin flip. They already did it. Yo, they did it as I said it. As I said that shit. All right, heads or tails? Heads or tails? Okay, one coin flip. I'm gonna flip it first. This one doesn't count. It's gonna be the next one. Right, so whatever it starts on, it'll be next one. Wow, why is 70% of people on heads? Oh, we got like 8 million channel points on the line. 10 million channel points on the line. Almost 50-50 odds here. You realistically, chat, if you want the sneak pick here, there's around 50-50 odds on a coin flip. If it was IRL, I think it's like 49.5, depending on which side it starts on. But you want to bet on the one with lower odds, because that's how you win more money on channel points. But it's like almost even. Okay. We have 20 million channel points on the line. Good luck. Tails. Tails never fails. That's what they always say.
Gathering in one place for a set objective, it can create a sort of ideological powder keg. So in the WotC, these guys formed gambling brotherhoods, and the Song Penal Code tried constantly to break them up because they feared the brotherhoods were becoming more loyal to each other than to the Empire.
No more mods, no more, because chat will actually freak out about it. See, this is the point that I'm trying to prove. Chat is addicted to this shit. We're not doing any more. That was the one for the day.
Now you might get into a private Discord server, ostensibly to do some gambling and trade some insider tips, and next thing you know, you're radicalized into committing some horrific public act of terror. This feels like a good—
What? You join a betting Discord and then you become a terrorist? What are we talking about?
Because they feared the brotherhoods were becoming more loyal to each other than to the emperor. Now you might get into a private Discord server, ostensibly to do some gambling and trade some insider tips, and next thing you know, you're radicalized into committing some horrific public act of terror. This feels like a good place to land the plane, because the main point I want to make with these videos is that time is a flat circle, and we're essentially repeating the patterns of the past over and over again. There's the old saying that those who don't study history are doomed to repeat it, but it seems like even when we do study history, we're powerless not to make the same mistakes. The difference now, of course, is that these things are happening on a massive global scale with the full weight of tech companies and government institutions behind them. A soldier in the Song dynasty might drunkenly head to the Wazi and lose his monthly wages, and that was it. A young 20-something now might obsessively bet his entire savings on an app on his phone and ruin his whole life before it's even started. This is why we need to pay attention to these trends and recognize that even though human behavior hasn't changed, how we respond to it can. But what do you think? Has this video found you at a very medieval Chinese time in your life?
Yo, I'm really liking this relation of medieval China to Gen Z. I feel like he was spitting facts actually the entirety of this video. Medieval mindset. Does he make videos all about this stuff? This was like one of the best videos I've seen in the last like 6 months, actually. Something that makes me feel confident in the future is that humanity's been doing the same weird thing since the beginning. Yeah, it's through, dude, I feel like humanity goes through like fluxes. We have like the way that I perceive it is like humans go through like a 500-year reset period. Things become lame, they become cool, they become lame, they become cool. They become lame, they become cool. Not normal, normal, weird, not normal, normal, weird, not normal, normal, weird. It's just like all just repeated. Not like law or like moral-based shit. I'm more so talking like fashion, trends, activities, things that are exciting, war even, fetishes. I don't know, man. Were there people that had foot fetishes back then? Maybe.